Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at a ForestCraft deck. I haven't covered a ForestCraft deck for quite a while, at least not a solid one, and this deck is reasonably solid. It isn't top tier competitive, and it definitely has room to, of course, be improved because I've had to cut stuff such as only running one Greenland and one Liza because that's all I have of that card, and a similar issue with things like Lily. I just don't have them, so I can't run them, and I don't have the vials to craft them right now as we're saving for the next expansion and so on, so that's a little difficult. Forest is definitely my most neglected class, but because I needed to do those forest challenges recently for the the Fate Stay Night tie-in, I thought, why not? We'll cover one. I've got to get the wins anyway, so why not make it into a video? So this is the deck that I was using for that, and if you want a deck to do it that's not super expensive, but also not obviously dirt cheap. I mean, we're still running 4 legendaries and quite a few golds, but overall still performs pretty nicely. It's a pretty straightforward aggro style deck, so very easy. And there's a lot of forest and dragon decks running around, and this deck actually does fairly reasonably in those kind of like mirror match styles, so that's always good. So we're going to get right into this and check it out. So the first match here is a forest. And of course, we go up against a guy who has Gilgamesh. I would love to have bought the Fate Leaders again, like the last slot that came out as well, but unfortunately I just don't have the money to really blow on those. I mean, in Australia, it's nearly $100 if you wanted to buy all of them, which is absolutely crazy. I wouldn't mind it quite as much if they will say, you know, $5 each, but that's life of these sort of games. They try to make as much money as they can, and can't really blame them for that. Plus, cosmetic items aren't quite as big a deal, luckily. So getting to go face, pretty straightforward. Just swarm the board as quickly as you can. Don't even really need to worry about defending yourself too much. Usually a board does that for you. And really it is just a matter of hitting face, getting in the damage, and really just taking things from there. But of course, Elfsmith, since we don't have another decent play, but we are going to clear this out, which is good. I find with Forest, once you get ahead on board, it can be very hard for your opponent to recover. They don't run any kind of big clears at the moment, so as soon as you do get ahead, it's not too bad. The only real issue is cards like this, the 2-for-1, at the very least. In the best case scenario, of course, they'll do much, much more. At least on the bright side here, Elfsmith is going to let us take out the Peerless. Definitely we're going to take out the 5-2 very, very easily. And go face for another little bit of damage with that one. While also retaining a very, very good board. There it is, the Goblin play, along with another Fairy. So it looks like they're trying to go as wide as they can. They want to hit the 4-4. Ugh, probably hit the worst thing on board for them, honestly. You don't want to be hitting a 1-1 out of every single card on the board. So when things get a little more interesting, luckily we get our own Peerless, so we're going to be able to use that to our advantage to clear a couple of these cards here. While at the same time drawing, which is always a good thing. And we'll actually be able to wipe out more than I thought, which is even better. Also getting another 4 damage to the face. This is sort of games that I actually quite like, where they can kind of snowball. I really actually need to play a lot more Forest. I really need to level it up. It's about the only craft I haven't got to at least a minimum of 140. Every other craft, I have already reached that. And most of them are actually on their way almost being all maxed to 150 level. I'm actually hoping they'll do a level increase again in say like another, not even quite 12 months would be nice. If it's this year, I'd really love to see another level increase to say 200 for long-term players to reach. And just to add in some more rewards. Because there really is not a lot of challenges left once you've been playing for a while. I think all I've got is some Take 2 challenges, a couple more 500 win challenges that I haven't bothered to finish, mostly with things like Forest. That's really about it. But we do a really nice job here. I mean, as you saw, it's really just a matter of swarming the board, and that's all we really needed to do. The Sky Strider Raptors, more than enough. We also could have went for the Hornet. That would have done the job as well with its 3 damage. So, not bad at all. And for our next matchup, we're going to go up against Dragon. Right now, the meta's kind of all over the place, at least in my opinion and from what I have seen. We've mostly seen a lot of Portal, Forest, Dragon, and probably Shadow at the moment, at least when I'm making this video. They're the 4 decks I'm seeing the most. Immediately followed up by Rune, which is of course Mysteria variants in rotation. And then pretty much everything else kind of has been below that. At least as far as the majority of matchups I've played. I've played quite a few now in the last few days. Trying to boost up my score reward and stuff for this month. So, a couple of fairies. Not a bad option. Some of these games can be fairly close, especially against Dragon. I admit this deck would be much better if I had the extra greenlands and the extra cards, and it's something I might actually focus on after mini expansion and we've opened a heap of packs, because we're only going to want new cards, so we're going to have a lot of old cards that we just don't need. Oh, that was rough. Whitefrost Whisper, so they're definitely clearing out as much of this as they can. Although it might not be the best thing for them. If I actually had have thought about that, I should have done the Peerless first, and then... No, even with Evolve, it actually wouldn't have been that good. So maybe that wouldn't have been the right move. I think just playing the Peerless here was just fine. We still get the nice draw, which is really what we need. Now we've got a chance to go for a turn 5 play. We end up getting another Peerless, so, I mean, the Evo on this one, definitely the worthwhile way to go. And now we just need to go for a decent Greenland play, and we should be able to set up for a decent amount of damage over a few turns. Of course, Omen of Disdain. No big surprise. At least we will probably see that be traded. And they're definitely going for Satan, so this is definitely a Satan Dragon, which this deck actually does a reasonable job of handling. I mean, the only real risk is they do a mass board clear. So we're just going to hope we can get around that first. If we can, we're actually going to be in a fairly good position. So from now on, I just need to really hammer the board with whatever I can. And these really low drops are going to extremely help us out. So the Evo on the Water Fairy first, even though I probably could have come up with a better way to do that. I feel like that was still an okay way to do things. I really like this Hornet Soldier. I wasn't sure if I'd like it to start with. After all, I'm not a big Forest player to begin with, but after playing it for a while, it's really grown on me. There is the Poseidon. And that's quite good. I mean, they don't have much they can really draw now other than, of course, Satan cards. So, really, it's just a matter of avoiding any of the big hitters and slowing them down a bit. Which it looks like we should be able to do quite a nice job of. We're going to be able to get 6 damage this turn. Which is going to be quite a lot of damage, especially when they have to try and clear this board, which the only good way to do that would be something like, I think, is it Earthfall, I believe, wipes the board. But didn't even need to get that far, as of course they ended up conceding because they couldn't handle the heat. So definitely not an overall bad deck. It actually did pretty reasonably. It's definitely something I'll probably continue to play a little bit, since I can play this deck and still do okay. I'm probably averaging a little less than a 50% win rate with this deck, so it's not good for ranking up. But if you have got challenges, you've got something that you need to finish, it's not going to be impossible to do so with this, which is what I wanted for Forest, really. I just don't have the cards to build something insane. Unlimited might have been a better bet, but I thought we'd give the rotation decks a go. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Until next time, see ya.